Hi, everyone. It's an honor to join so many great minds here today. Thank you so much for having me. As you may have noticed, I am currently on a sailboat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, so please excuse the rocking. Before I introduce myself and my work, I would like to share a story about how I came to think of fishing communities as a surprisingly powerful tool in our conservation arsenal. In 2022, I was living on a remote field station in Belize while conducting a study on compliance in our marine protected area. In 6 months, I interviewed 30% of the fishing community. I asked questions about illegal fishing and listened to the perspectives of those who I thought to be responsible for the loss of protected species from this beautiful marine reserve that I had helped to create. I thought that my results would indicate that we need to increase enforcement or strengthen regulations. But after speaking with hundreds of kind, compassionate, and environmentally aware fishers, what I really found is that fisherfolk may be the secret key to saving coral reefs. My name is Taylor Bratton. I'm a marine ecologist turned anthropologist with a passion for advocating for the rights of small scale fishing communities. Professionally, I have designed, established, and managed three marine protected areas, and most recently founded Sea Collective, a research based nonprofit creating a template for the equitable management of small scale fisheries. The data point that changed my perspective on conservation and inspired Sea Collective originated from my research in Belize. I found that the demographic most likely to be caught fishing illegally was the group with the lowest social mobility, highest resource dependency, and on average, lived closest to the poverty line. And then it clicked. Maybe to protect our marine resources, we must first protect the people who depend on them. When we include fishers in conversations about marine management, compliance increases radically. Traditional conservation often bars primary resource users from accessing fishing grounds and breeds contention between fishers and well meaning conservationists, and consequently results in low compliance. Alternatively, fishers are brought into tourism based conservation approaches, which can curb heavy involvement in fisheries by diversifying livelihoods. But these new jobs do not always affirm fishers' sense of place, identity, and purpose. Lastly, it's evident that tropical fishing communities, particularly in the global south, are experiencing the consequences of climate change more severely than developed nations. Coral reef ecosystems harbor a disproportionate amount of marine biodiversity, which is safeguarded by well managed small scale fisheries. What if we changed the status quo and prioritized fishers' perspectives? What if we leveraged traditional ecological knowledge to manage reef fisheries? What if we looked to fisherfolk for solutions on how to manage the resources that they know best? To address these gaps, I've partnered with a close team of young scientists, sailors, filmmakers, and adventurers to collect data on fishing communities and their ecosystems around the world using sailboats as our research vessels. By assessing the paired social and biophysical characteristics of fishers and fisheries, we hope to develop a model to prioritize management objectives within the 30 by 30 framework in a warming world and overfished ocean. I won't get too technical, but our model can be visualized on a three-dimensional axis, comprised of composite scores from an ecosystem health model looking at fish and corals, and two social models looking at adaptive capacity, which is people's ability to anticipate and respond to change, and resource dependency, which is how reliant people are on natural resources. With these parameters, we can prioritize the most efficient solutions based on which quadrant a specific community falls into. We collect our data by sailing to fishing communities around the world, where we partner with local NGOs, universities, and community groups to conduct social and biophysical surveys. Underwater, we use transects to collect data on fish biomass, fish species richness, and coral percent cover. In communities, we ask non-invasive questions to fishers to understand their adaptive capacity and resource dependency. All our data goes back to the organizations we work with and is added to our open access data set. Ultimately, we're asking, do the social characteristics of fishing communities influence environmental health? And can we leverage the social conservation model for more inclusive and equitable fisheries management in the face of biodiversity loss and a changing climate? So far, we've asked these questions in communities in Kenya, India, and Indonesia, and currently are en route to Cabo Verde to conduct another data collection mission with some local NGOs. I hope in this short time I have been able to impart some sense of inspiration for leveraging the experiences of fisherfolk for a more holistic approach to marine conservation. Thank you so much.